Hi, everyone, and welcome to DK's Dinosaur Day. My name is Ashley Hall, and I'm a paleontologist and the author of the brand new book called Prehistoric Worlds, illustrated by the brilliant Claire McElfatrick, who you're going to meet in just a little bit. Now, I get the question all the time of how did I become a paleontologist and grow up to study dinosaurs? And the answer is pretty simple. Just like you, I was a curious kid who loved learning about dinosaurs. And so my parents would take me to the library to check out dinosaur books. And I would read everything I possibly could about dinosaurs and prehistoric life. And then they also took me to museums where you can see the real fossils on display, just like this big T-Rex behind me. So no matter where you are in the world, I hope you can visit a museum and go to a library where you can read endlessly about these amazing animals. So speaking of dinosaurs, I have a really fun quiz for everybody today, and I want to know if you want to test your dinosaur knowledge. So raise a hand if you love dinosaurs. Yeah, I can see lots of you out there love dinosaurs too. So without further ado, I would like to start this awesome dinosaur trivia quiz. So get a pen and paper ready and let's begin. All right, so huge thanks to DK for having me. And we are gonna get started with question number 1. What does the word dinosaur mean? Is it A, frightening reptile? Is it B, fearfully great reptile? Is it C, tyrant lizard? Or is it D, silly lizard? I'll give you a minute to guess. All right, if you guessed B, fearfully great reptile, you are correct. The term dinosauria is rooted in Greek and frequently quoted as meaning terrible lizard. Sir Richard Owen, the first superintendent of the British Museum, referred to dinosaurs as fearfully great, acknowledging their large size, significantly surpassing that of any living reptile. It wasn't until 1824 that William Buckland, Oxford University's first professor of geology, described and named the very first known dinosaur based on a lower jaw, vertebrae, and limb bones found in local quarries. Now, this specimen right here is actually the original Megalosaurus jaw fossil. And look at that. You can see the beautiful teeth inside. And this is actually a drawing of that beautiful specimen. And this was the very first specimen that was called Dinosaur. That is awesome. All right, so question number 2. What's the word for a group of dinosaurs? Is it A, pride? Is it B, herd? Is it C, troop? Or is it D, flock? And I'll give you a minute to guess. If you said B, you are correct. Now, a group of dinosaurs is called a herd. And how do we actually know that dinosaurs roamed in herds? Well, for example, we find dinosaur footprints, and there have been many dinosaur footprints heading in one direction, maybe allowing us to see into the past a little bit, into their behavior. And when we find dinosaur tracks, we have to kind of look at those tracks and understand when they were made and if they were possibly made at the very same time. And with sauropod dinosaurs, or the long-necked dinosaurs, we found many footprints with all of them heading in the same direction, implying that maybe, just maybe, they were a herding group of animals. So a lot of the herbivores or plant-eating dinosaurs that we have today, that we know about, like sauropods and hadrosaurs, may have actually run in groups together, just like a lot of the herbivores that we have today. And I love this picture of this little kid sitting in this dinosaur footprint, as you can see how big some of those dinosaur footprints actually were. Great job, everybody. All right, next question, true or false? A T-Rex's tooth is the size of a banana. I'll let you guess. I'll give you a minute. All right. A T-Rex's tooth is the size of a banana. Is it A, true, or is it B, false? If you said A, true, you are correct. Now, a T-Rex's tooth can be up to the size of a banana for the really, really big ones, the adult-sized teeth. And you can see here that there is a very large tooth next to this banana right here. But what's really cool about T-Rex teeth is that they are not just smooth, but they actually have a line of serrations, or these little bumps all the way down the tooth. And those little bumps are very similar to something that you would see on a steak knife or a butter knife. So ask your adults permission and ask to see a butter knife or a steak knife tonight, and you can see the serrations that are very similar to that of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Of course, the juvenile's teeth or the younger Tyrannosaurus teeth are a lot smaller, and the adult teeth are about the size of a banana. So if you said A, true, you are correct. All right, next question. What size was the smallest dinosaur that ever lived? Is it A, the size of a cat? Is it B, the size of a hummingbird? Is it C, the size of an ant? I'll give you a minute to guess. What size was the smallest dinosaur that ever lived? All right. If you said B, the size of a hummingbird, you are correct. In fact, the smallest dinosaur that ever lived is in fact a hummingbird, as birds are modern day dinosaurs. And birds are actually the only group of dinosaurs that survived the extinction that killed off the rest of the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. So hummingbirds, even though they don't quite look like a dinosaur, are dinosaurs themselves. Just like how bats are a group of mammals, birds are a group of dinosaurs. Now, this picture here is the smallest dinosaur that ever lived, and it still lives today, known as the bee hummingbird. Look how teeny tiny this beautiful little hummingbird is, and that is the tiniest little dinosaur. So very cute. All right, next question. Hope you're ready. What do you call dinosaurs that eat both meat and plants? Is it A, varietivores? Is it B, carnovegans? Is it C, omnivores? So again, what do you call dinosaurs that eat both meat and plants? I'll give you a minute to guess. All right, are you ready? If you said C, omnivores, you are correct. Now, omnivores eat both meat and plants, and a lot of dinosaurs were actually omnivores. Now, if we look at Tyrannosaurus Rex's jaws right here, you can see that those extremely large banana-sized teeth are actually great for ripping through meat, just like a knife is good at ripping through meat too. So T-Rex was not eating any plants, as plants are really, really hard to digest. And herbivores are dinosaurs that ate plants. So herbivores had kind of grinding teeth, and this is a dinosaur that is very near and dear to my heart called Parasaurolophus. And this dinosaur has rows of teeth, thousands of teeth that work together in one, what's called a dental battery. And all of these teeth are working together to grind up those plants. All of the teeth grow up and they actually make a very flat surface that help grind up those plants. And they're eating things like cycads, which are incredibly tough and rough. They feel like plastic. And so being an herbivore during the Cretaceous period or even the Jurassic would have had to been really, really hard. And you have to have specialized teeth, because the plants they were eating were incredibly tough. Now, this is an omnivore. This is a great example of a dinosaur that ate probably both meat and plants, as many of my colleagues who are paleontologists agree. This is an oviraptor. And oviraptors are a group of theropod dinosaurs, like T-Rex and Velociraptor, but they actually had a beak on the front of their mouth. And so a lot of paleontologists agree that this animal was probably eating more meat and plants and maybe not just specializing on one or the other. But time will tell, and of course, more fossil discoveries. All right, next question. Hope you're ready. What is the scientific word for fossilized dinosaur poo? Is it A, ammonites? Is it B, coprolites? Or is it C, dungicus? I'll give you a minute to guess. All right, again, what is the scientific word for fossilized dinosaur poo? And yes, we do find dinosaur poo. All right, if you said B, coprolites, you are correct. Now, this is a giant coprolite or fossilized poo, and I love everyone to say coprolite. So can you guys say coprolite on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Coprolite. Very, very good. So that's one of my favorite scientific words because dinosaur poop is really awesome stuff. Speaking of dinosaurs that are carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores, one of the ways that we can learn about a dinosaur's diet is through their poo. So this giant poop is a large coprolite of a carnivorous dinosaur that was found in South Dakota. And this one so far has been attributed to being pooped out by T-Rex. So imagine how big and smelly this would have been. It's actually the size of a small dog. So this is a very large poop. So again, fossil poop is called coprolite. All right, next question. What do all dinosaurs have in common? Is it A, they all stood upright with their legs underneath their body? Is it B, they could all roar? Or is it C, they were all herbivores? I'll give you a minute to guess. So again, what do all dinosaurs have in common? All right, are you ready? So what do all dinosaurs have in common? If you said they all stood upright with their legs underneath their body, you are correct. So dinosaurs actually stand with their legs underneath their body, very similar to how you and I stand, although our hip sockets are very, very different. Now, the other group of animals, so the other groups of animals, I should say, things like lizards and crocodilians and turtles all have their arms and legs out to the side, whereas dinosaurs have their legs underneath their body. So next time you see a lizard, look at their body posture and you'll see it looks more like they're doing a push-up rather than walking with their legs underneath their body. So all dinosaurs, no matter if they were flying or walking, all stood upright with their legs underneath their body. Great job, everybody. Okay, next question. Dinosaurs lived at the same time as which of the following creatures? Is it A, woolly mammoths? Is it B, saber-toothed cats? Is it C, early humans? Or is it D, none of the above? So again, dinosaurs lived at the same time as which of the following creatures? And I'll give you a minute to guess. All right, you ready? If you said D, none of the above, you are correct. So dinosaurs evolved about 252 million years ago, and they died out. Most of them died out, I should say, about 66 million years ago. All dinosaurs died out except for birds. Now, during that time period, they lived with animals like crocodilians and turtles and fish and salamanders and amphibians and even mammals, but they never lived with animals as advanced as woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats, and especially not early humans. Some of the earliest humans that we have, or hominins, are about 3 million years old. And the dinosaurs that we all know and love died out about 66 million years ago. So again, they didn't live with saber-toothed cats, they didn't live with woolly mammoths, and they definitely didn't live with humans. So they did not live with any of those animals. Now, what's really cool is that as humans right now on Earth, we actually live with the group of dinosaurs that survived. Again, that would be the birds. And there are over 10,000 species of avian dinosaurs, is what we call birds, on the planet today. Okay, next question. And you should be ready for this one if you've been paying attention. So true or false? The birds we see today are living dinosaurs. A, true, or B, false? And I'll give you a minute to guess. All right. If you said A, true, you are correct. Very good job. So the birds we see today are in fact living dinosaurs. So everything from pigeons to starlings to sparrows to the seagulls that you see by the lake are all living dinosaurs. And there are over 10,000 species of living dinosaurs today, which is so amazing. Of course, T-Rex isn't around today. They died out 66 million years ago, but their descendants are around today, which is so cool. All right, next question. How old is the earliest or oldest known dinosaur fossil? Is it A, 243 million years old? Is it B, 3.5 billion years old? Or is it C, 66,000 years old? I'll give you a few seconds to guess. All righty. If you said A, 243 million years old, you are correct. Nyasasaurus is the oldest known dinosaur that walked the Earth about 243 million years ago in the early Triassic, before all of the dinosaurs that we all know and love. And it was about 5 feet long, about the size of a Labrador Retriever. And it walked the Earth about 10 million years before more familiar small dinosaurs like Eoraptor and Herrerasaurus. So this dinosaur is telling us a lot about dinosaur evolution. And right now, this is the earliest known dinosaur. But with future discoveries, we might have an earlier one yet, but only time will tell. All right, so give yourselves a round of applause for doing such an amazing job on that dinosaur trivia. That was awesome. And now we have some dinosaur Q&A sent in from some friends like you. All right, so question number 1. Why did T-Rex have such short arms? So that's a great question. So Tyrannosaurus Rex is a huge animal with a giant head and tiny little arms in comparison to the size of the rest of its body. But actually, the size of their arms are the size of a human's arm. So go get your favorite adult and look at the size of their arm, because T-Rex's arm is about that long. They just look very, very small on the size of their body. Now, in Tyrannosaur evolution, they had longer arms further back in time, and their arms became shorter as the Jurassic turned into the Cretaceous. And that might be a trade-off from having a really large head. But as of right now, we're not really sure what those arms were for. So whether they were for helping get themselves off of the ground or helping grab their prey, we're not really sure, but maybe someday you can find out. All right, next question. Did dinosaurs eat their poo like some animals do? And you know what? I do not have the answer for this, but this is a great question, because a lot of animals today, like rabbits, will actually eat their poop because there's still nutrients in it. And most of the animals that eat their poop are actually herbivores. So it wouldn't surprise me if we found out that some herbivorous dinosaurs or plant-eating dinosaurs actually ate their own poop as well. So great question. Next question, is it possible to bring dinosaurs back? So my friend, if you're talking about Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, where we find a piece of amber with a mosquito in it, and that mosquito has eaten the blood of a dinosaur, and the blood contains the DNA, that is probably going to never happen because DNA is a really long molecule that's in every one of our cells, and it can degrade over time. Now, we found bits and pieces of DNA, but it's such a long chain molecule that we have bits and pieces, but to get the DNA of one whole animal, you need the whole chain. Now, there is something really cool, and a lot of scientists are studying this in biology, and that is studying embryos. So embryos of animals like birds, which are modern day dinosaurs, can tell us a lot about their ancient past. So for example, by studying chicken embryos, we know that chicken embryos are capable of having tooth buds when they're developing, and chickens today don't have any teeth, they have a beak. And also in the embryonic stage, in a very young chicken, they also have 3 claws, and they also have a longer tail. But as that embryo is developing, their genetics, their genes are actually telling them what to turn on and what to turn off. And later on in life, you'll learn about something called Hox genes. And the Hox genes of animals tell an animal how to look and how to develop based on their heredity. So you'll learn way more about that later in life, but if you'd like to learn more, there's a great book called How to Build a Dinosaur by Jack Horner. And that is an awesome book about learning how we can bring back dinosaurs. But again, remember, we have 10,000 species of dinosaurs living with us right now in the form of birds. So who knows, maybe studying birds will lead us to learn more about their ancient past. All right, next question. Did dinosaurs roar? That's a question I love to talk about because roaring is such an interesting noise. When we hear a roar is a very like mammal thing. So if you think about like a tiger or a lion or a bear, that's a very mammalian thing. But dinosaurs are big reptiles. So in order to figure out what they sounded like, we have to look at their cousins, the birds, and the alligators and crocodiles. So I want you all to go out and to listen to all the birds in your neighborhood and to figure out if any birds today may have sounded like what dinosaurs could have sounded like. And also, if you go online and look up videos of crocodiles or alligators, they do make some pretty interesting noises too. So I don't think many dinosaurs roared, but there's only one way to find out, and that's going back in time. So unless we have a time machine, we may never know. And lastly, could dinosaurs swim? The answer is yes, most likely. So we have evidence in trackways that some dinosaurs probably could swim. Now there are tracks in the mud where you can see dinosaurs walking. And then there are swim tracks, and swim tracks are, if you imagine a dinosaur swimming, they have their legs that are sort of barely touching the bottom and their feet are barely touching the bottom, and they're scraping the bottom as they're swimming. And so we have evidence of these claw marks where dinosaurs are scraping the bottom, and the animals that were most likely making these tracks were animals like Dilophosaurus. So Jurassic age dinosaurs swimming in river channels, which is really cool to think about. So dinosaurs probably could swim, and we have evidence of just a few. All right, so with that, everyone, I want to thank you all for coming. I have had a fantastic time with all of you. And now I want to turn it over to Claire McElfatrick, who's going to teach you how to draw dinosaurs, just like the dinosaurs she drew in my book. All right, everyone. See you later. Stay curious out there, and I'll turn it over to Claire.
Thanks, Ashley. Hello, everyone. My name's Claire. I'm going to show you how to draw a velociraptor, one of my favourite dinosaurs. You'll just need to have a pencil and a sketchbook like me, and we can draw along together.
Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to start by drawing some very light circles to start forming the shape of our velociraptor. So we're going to start with an oval shape here, and a bit of an angle for its head, and then a smaller oval shape here. And then I'm going to go with a curvy line here and here, just very lightly. Okay, and then we're going to do another circle here at the bottom of the neck, and then a much bigger, more oval shape here for the main part of its body. It looks a bit odd at the moment, doesn't it? But it will soon come together. So we're going to take a darker line. So you're going to press a bit harder with your pencil now, and we're going to come from the top part here of the oval, the small oval, and we're going to curve round right over the top of the next one. And then we're going to come round the back here of the neck, and then we will take that line over the back of its body, and then we're going to take a really swooshy line right out to form its very long tail. Now, it had a very long tail because it would help it to balance when it was running after its prey. And we'll just take that lightly down because we'll come back to that later. So just the top of its tail for now. And then we're going to come back to its mouth, and I'm going to give this one an open mouth so we can see its fierce teeth. And then so we have that slightly open, so the bottom part of its jaw is a little bit narrower than the top, and we curve it round to show its jawline there. Now we can start to take away a few of these circles here that we've put in lightly, and then we can put some detail in later. And if your lines aren't looking right, you can always erase them and do them again. Just take your time. I'm going to be quite quick with mine, but I will come back and add some more detail. Then we're going to do a squiggly line here that raises up with a circle just sitting underneath it like this to form its eye, and a dot in the middle. And this curvy line makes it look a little bit fierce, like it's frowning, and a sort of little upside down comma shape for its nostril. And then we can do some little triangles to form its sharp teeth. There we go. So we're going to try and do its back leg now. So we're going to do another very light wobbly circle shape here, followed by another oval at a bit of an angle here, and then another smaller one here. And so we can take a line coming from the top of there, down, and then another one around the back here. We'll bring this next line just behind this one, because this is going to show its muscle on its leg, and this will be the curve here. And then we're going to just have a little curve here to form its ankle. And we will come back to its feet in just a second. We just get these put into place first. So we're going to do the same with its front arm. So another little small circle just to guide you of where it's going to go. And then we'll have another oval, and then two very light lines here. You can see where the arm's going to form. So again, a nice curved line coming down around the back, and then a bit of elbow here that can just stick out a bit, and then we'll bring its forearm round like so. And again, we will come back to its hands and its claws in just a moment, but now we can bring its body shape underneath. So a nice curvy line down, and then it's going to go up here into the hips, which is a little wobble. And now we're going to join the tail line. So we're going to just go up and meet the end of its tail there. A nice, strong, long tail. So we need a back leg here and a back arm. So let's just imagine this shape sitting behind. So let's just put in a nice curved line here, another one here. And this one's going to be slightly more stretched out at the back. Again, if your line doesn't look quite right, just rub it out. Do it again. I'm often doing that. It's quite hard to get right first time. And just take your time. This one looks a bit thicker, so I'm going to make that a bit thinner. There we go. So let's look at the feet now. So we're going to go for a curvy line around the back, and then I'm going to take that round and up. So a nice long curvy line, and then that's going to be one of its toes, and we're going to do a little claw there, and then I'm going to, from the back here, do another curvy line that just goes in front of it, and then another sharp claw. And for this third toe here, we're going to go up and show this big sickle-shaped claw here, and a slightly bigger toe curving round. And then we're going to do the same for this one at the back. Again, it's a little bit big, that toe. And just correct yourself if need be. Or finish it and then come back and you can look at it and make any adjustments that you want. This big curvy claw at the back. And then also we're just going to add in here just a little bit of claw here at the back, a curvy line, and another little bit of claw, and then we'll just erase that line so it joins the foot better there. And then we can just add some little lines in to show a little bit of texture. It didn't have particularly smooth skin, and then you can just make those claws a bit more obvious. Okay, so again, we can just get rid of some of those lighter circles, and you can see your Velociraptor starting to take shape. Now, I'm thinking that my Velociraptor looks quite big. I can imagine it should be quite big, but actually Velociraptors were the sort of size of a turkey, which is hard to believe. And the other interesting thing is it was like a bird, it was covered in feathers, and this was to keep it warm. It also had feathers along its tail and its head, and we're going to add those in just a minute, but let's do the front hands and claws first. We're going to take a nice long curvy line, just like we did with the toes here. We're going to curl these up because they used to claw and clutch their prey. So these sharp curvy claws here, and let's just curve that hand round. And again, we want one coming from the back as well, so we only need to do 2 lines here. And again, same for the long curvy claws at the front here. And again, we can add a little bit of texture to those fingers and hands. There we go. Right, now let's add some feathers. So first of all, it had quite a few feathers going along its head, we think. So let's do these kind of pointy leaf shapes. They can be as simple or as detailed as you would like them to be. And you can layer them up. So it looks like there's a thicker set of feathers there. And you could also do some little lines to show where it's blending in with its skin, like that. And actually, we need to add some wings in. They were almost like wings, but they didn't actually fly. So let's just do some lines that get bigger. And we'll flick at the end as we go along to form the shape of the wing. And then as we come around the back, we're going to go a bit smaller up to the top of its arm to form that wing shape. And at the back, we'll just show that that's the same, just with some lines. And then we can do a layering up of feathers to show that they were quite thick. So just some little flicks in front. Again, you can spend a bit more time on this, and you can add some detail or some pattern, some colour. Now with dinosaurs, we're not 100% sure what colour they are, what colour they were. And so you can use your own interpretation and be as creative as you like. Or you could add some pattern, texture, and add a few marks at the bottom here to make them look a bit more like the feathers that we see on birds. And then again, you could always just add a few little dashes to show that those feathers are just going into the arms there. You can do a few extras on the shoulder to blend it in. And we can add a few lines in to show a bit of definition. So it was quite muscular as well, like so. And we do some feathers going down the back of the tail. Again, you can layer these up, as many feathers on as you like, or you can just give it a hint that there were feathers. And go a bit smaller as we come down the tail. And then you could always do some little flicks along the back to make it look like it was a bit fluffier and not so smooth. And then maybe just add a few little hints of feathers here and there. If you don't want to spend a long time putting feathers all over its body, you can just do little sections and a few little marks, like little dashes, and make it look quite feathery too. Yeah, some on the legs. Again, just on the outsides to make it look a bit more fluffy. Along the back there, and it might have had a slightly different colour underbelly here, so we can draw a line in, and if you want to colour this in afterwards you can do so. I'd love to see what colours you come up with in your interpretation of that. Perhaps you could go really wild and have a rainbow looking dinosaur, or maybe you want to keep it to similar to bird colours. Okay, well, that is our basic Velociraptor done. You can always add in a little line for ground here so it doesn't look like it's floating, and maybe a few little pebbles and rough rocks to make it look a bit more like it's on a Jurassic sort of ground and surface, and a few little hints of grass maybe. And if you want to, you could add a nice background with some volcanoes in and some palms and some Jurassic looking plant life. Well, I hope you've enjoyed drawing along, and I would love to see what you come up with. Thank you.